Hey, thanks for joining us. It's our regular Friday video. This week, we're talking about Malaysian football as well. First, though, we start in Germany, where this weekend, it's the DFB Pokal semi-final weekend. It's the FA Cup equivalent in Germany. First up, you've got Werder Bremen against RB Leipzig. It's Saturday at 2:30. Julian Nagelsmann, who's currently at Leipzig, Craig, touted, well, actually, he's probably confirmed, isn't it? I mean, everyone's saying he's going to be, he is, isn't he? He's the next Bayern manager.
Confirmed, yeah. And Leipzig already have their replacement.
The Salzburg guy.
Yeah, within the RB group. Are we surprised? I mean, it's something that I think, with his results and his record over the past
Is he that good, Nagelsmann?
Well, he's definitely got the results in the CV to back it up. But, we've seen managers with better CVs go to Bayern Munich and fail. I don't think it's going to be easy. He's going to go into an environment where there are players older than him that he'll have to manage with bigger egos, World Cup winners, Champions League winners. Is he able to kind of manage those egos and those personalities in there? That's a different kind of kettle of fish to what he's used to at Leipzig. I just look back, to last season when Kovac took the job. Young manager, same thing, played for Bayern Munich, although Nagelsmann didn't. But young coach, they went down that route, and it didn't work out for them at all. It really didn't.
Yeah, so, but Kovac didn't have a line of fashion groundbreaking suits with him, though, did he?
I mean, he was dressed fairly smartly. But yeah, I just you look over the years, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I like him. I think he's a very talented manager. But sometimes when you make that step up a little bit too early, not everyone's a Mourinho. I know he's got the nickname of Baby Mourinho or whatever it is, but not everyone can do what Mourinho did. I mean, Villas-Boas, is another example that comes to mind when he moved from Porto to Chelsea. I think there's a lot of that's going to be expected of him, and he has to keep the ground running. Results have to come in from the start, and if he doesn't within the first 7 to 8 months, and they're fourth in Bundesliga, it'll be his time to go. And so pressure on him straight away.
Yeah, well, he has a chance to sign off at Leipzig with a trophy. They're taking on Werder Bremen, who have, to say they've stalled in the Bundesliga is a bit of an understatement. I think it was their 7th straight defeat last weekend. So they're crumbling. And for manager Florian Kohfeldt, it will become, it's a welcome break, Leipzig. But when it's like this, when you haven't got form to rely on, you can go, the history of the club, boys, drive them on with the history. And it is a cup semi-final. So they've got to lift themselves for that. That one is Saturday at 2:30 a.m. The other one is a potential giant killing in the making. Dortmund take on Little Holstein Kiel. Sunday at 2:30. Holstein Kiel play in Division 2. Is it of the German league. They're on the verge of promotion. They've got lots of games in hand, I understand, because of COVID and because of their cup run. Do you smell any potential? They got rid of Bayern in the last round, didn't they?
They did get rid of Bayern. The German Cup, or the DFB Pokal, has a reputation for occasionally throwing up these big surprises, but not as often as you'd think. Bayern Munich are the team who've won the cup more than any. I think it's 20 times. Yeah. Werder Bremen, who you mentioned, they've got a pretty good record as well. They've been in 10 finals. So some of the teams, not the Bayerns, some of the teams look at this as a way, I suppose, like the League Cup in England, because it's not the FA Cup. They don't put the same importance on it. But to actually have a chance to get a trophy. A trophy is a trophy is a trophy. So Holstein Kiel, no, I can't see them doing it. I would imagine they would look to get it into the Bundesliga, because Dortmund, if Dortmund play Haaland up front, they've got to be favourites. Of course they do. And Dortmund need to get something going. They've got this reputation. We've been critical of them. They've got all these super duper little wonderful young players, and the idea is to sell them on and make a shed load of money. But they also need to get into finals and be at the business end when the league comes in. They're not out of the Champions League race, but it's very difficult. So the next best thing would be perhaps to win a trophy. So do I smell an upset? No. Is it possible? Certainly in Germany, but historically unlikely.
Yeah. Interim coach Erdin Terzic, a few weeks ago, a month ago, it didn't look good. But 4 successive wins in the Bundesliga has put Dortmund back into the mix for Champions League football. He could end up the season with a trophy. Suddenly it'll look really good. And when you've got Erling Braut Haaland, Bob, playing on your side, like Des mentioned, you might as well use him before you lose him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he could get a hatful here. I don't know who the centre backs are at Holsten Kiel, but I think they could be in for a bit of a torrid time.
They're household names in that Holsten area.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see whether Dortmund hang on to Haaland, and it's critical for their business model actually to be in the Champions League, because they seem to rely on picking up these promising young players and then moving them on and selling them at a massive profit, as they are going to do with Haaland and Jude Bellingham, no doubt. Buy them for 20 or 30 million and sell them for 100. But they're not going to attract them if they're not in Europe, playing in primarily the Champions League. So it is critical for them to get in there in the top 4, and that's their priority. But I don't think they'll have any problem with this. And I think winning a trophy is, as Des says, it's a trophy. You don't knock it. So Haaland, I think he's the type of guy. I think he's a hungry striker, and I think he'll fancy this. You'd expect him to score 3 or 4. He could easily do that in this game.
If Ole Werner's Holsten are going to do it, they're going to need 11 heroes on the pitch. It's the DFB Pokal semi-final weekend in Germany. On to Italy we go, where this week, well, first of all, here's your top 6 in Italy. Inter are, 2 hands and 1 foot on the trophy already, and possibly another 4 toes from the other foot as well. They're very nearly there on top. Atalanta is up to 2nd. Look at how AC Milan have faded. They dropped down to 5th. Napoli 3rd. Juventus 4th. Lazio holding on to a Europa League spot there in 6th. This weekend, it's bottom versus top. Crotone versus Inter Milan. You'd expect Conte's boys to do it. Des Corkill, shouldn't be any problem. Or
Inter being terrific. 11-point lead at the top. I was hoping you're going to come to me for that battle for the Champions League slots, because that has been a thriller. And we've been pointing it out over the last 3 weeks or so that Milan are vulnerable. We've been looking upwards for Milan. We should have been looking downwards, because they lost 3-0 to Lazio midweek, and that really hurt them. But as you've asked me about Inter, well, they eked out a 1-0 win against Hellas Verona. Lukaku, who I've always been a huge fan of, I thought he was harshly treated by Manchester United fans. I thought he was terrific, but what he's done is he's put himself as the main man, so much so that Chelsea are talking about bringing Lukaku back to England, which would be interesting, but they'd have to pay a shed load of money, because he is firing Inter to their first title in over a decade. It would take a catastrophic turnaround. It's 38 games, isn't it? So they are 11 points later, 2 wins away from the title. Yeah, I can't see. I can't see little Crotone stopping this party. The bottom of the team.
All eyes will be on Milan, the AC side of things, because Not only have they dropped from second, they're down to fifth. And is this fate going to get any worse for you, Craig Marias, you think? Pioli suddenly is in danger. They're talking about him losing his job. He's going to have to jiggle things about a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, the only thing that he's got going for him is that he's still in it. Yeah, they might be fifth in the table, but if you look at the points, there's still a win away from being back in second. If everyone drops points, so it's one of those where yes, the league table, when you look at it, it can be a little bit deceiving. There's still very much. There's still 5 games to go. So much to play for AC Milan. The one thing, if I was Gazidis at AC Milan, I'd be worried about the slump. From where they were midway through the season, I think they were top. It was fluctuating between them and Inter.
Talking about the title.
Yeah, and there was title talk, and rightly so, because what Pioli's done there is he's built a team. We haven't seen the 2 Milan teams challenge for that Serie A title over the last few years. That kind of, when we talked about Milan being that football capital, it kind of got lost over the last 10 years or so. But we saw that kind of rivalry with both of them going neck and neck for the title, and it was great to see. However, like we just said, they've come off the boil massively since the turn of the year, and the only silver lining is that they still very much got a very good chance of finishing second. As long as results, yes, they're banking on a few teams to drop, but they're 2 points off second place, and there's still so much to play for. So that's the only silver lining Pioli has got, but he has to do it. Yeah. That's what he's going to be judged on. They have to finish in the top 4.
He's got to win in Turin and against Atalanta on the last day of the season.
Yeah, and arguably Atalanta are the form team. At the moment. They're up to second, Bob. And what was this? I was reading 4 victories in 32 games across all competitions this season, and 4 defeats. Sorry, in 32 games. And those 2 of those defeats have come in the Champions League against Real Madrid.
Yeah, not bad, is it?
Exactly.
I mean, they're the Leicesters of Italy.
Well, yeah, perfect analogy.
A comparison. In fact, smaller. It's a smaller place than Leicester. It's like a small-ish town that's done this, and they are from the part of Italy that's been most affected by COVID-19.
Bergamo.
And remember the previous season, when they were in the Champions League, they played the games in the San Siro, didn't they? They had to travel, and their fans travel. This is before COVID, and their fans had to travel. I think it was about 50 miles to watch them because their ground isn't big enough. It didn't come up to UEFA Champions League standards. So this tells you what sort of underdogs they are. And for them to be duking it out at the top of Serie A with the Milans and the Juves is a fantastic story. It's just a pity they can't actually win it. I mean, that would be the fairy story. That would knock Leicester into a cocked hat, that would. I mean, this is a small team and they play attacking, attractive football. What they have done has been absolutely tremendous, and they deserve all the credit. And it would be a tragedy if they were to slip up now and not get in the Champions League for next season.
All right. Here are your Serie A fixtures for the weekend. Sorry, got a bit confused then. Crotone, bottom versus top. Crotone against Inter. You've got Milan against Benevento. Lazio, 6th against Genoa. Juve at the bottom there, take on Udinese. Juventus have to win as well. So that's Italian football. On to Spain we go, where in midweek, Barcelona missed out on the chance to go top of La Liga. It was a surprise home defeat against Granada. Even bigger surprise, Craig, because they were leading 1-0 at halftime with Leo Messi getting the goal. and then it just all went a little bit pear-shaped.
Yeah, and it was, I think, a 15-minute period where they conceded the 2 goals. I mean, we keep talking about this La Liga race every single week, and it's let's go Real and Barcelona. No one seems to want to win it. I mean, that's the fact of it. They just keep dropping points, and I think last week it was a 0-0 for Real Madrid. Barcelona had a great chance to kind of claw their way back into it with that win and go top. But I mean, do these guys actually want to win the La Liga title? I mean, it's ridiculous. I've never seen teams, big teams as well, been so uninspired to win it. It's crazy. And when you think about someone like Koeman and Barcelona and how much they need this title, to kind of probably save his job, if anything, it's quite remarkable. When I looked at the goals, they were very poor goals to concede from Barcelona, very, very poor. That, as it is, I stuck my neck out on the line a few weeks ago. I said Barcelona will win it. I'm not going to change it. Not going to change it just because of this result. I think there's a lot of twists and turns along the way in the next few games, and I'll stick with Barcelona and favour them to win La Liga.
Yeah, look at the La Liga table right now. That's your top 6. 33 games gone. Up to 4th. Sevilla are not mathematically by any long shot out of it yet.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like Craig says, they keep dropping points. You can see the form on the far right. They only Sevilla are the form team at the moment, amazingly. Now, this weekend, Atletico are away at Elche, who are fighting relegation. You'd expect Atletico to win that. I say you'd expect it, Bob. Do you think they're on the big fade, and do you think they will crumble?
Well, I think they've halted the fade, haven't they? They've turned it around a bit, and they've got a 2-point advantage on Real Madrid in 2nd place, and Barcelona on the same number of points. I think they've steadied. And the crucial game will be the Atletico-Barcelona game next weekend. That may have a bearing on it, although you wouldn't be surprised if there's another twist even after that, because there are 5 more games. As Craig said, I mean, impossible to predict this, but it's great for Spanish football to have this. It's a pity the fans are not there. I mean, they seldom have this. There's seldom more than 2 teams involved in the La Liga race, isn't there, historically? So to have 4 teams going at it like this, Seville could win it. They're 3 points behind, but there are 5 games left. I mean, if the others keep slipping up like this, could even see them winning it. So fantastic for the game, this. And I think it does show that there's probably a bit of an evening up in Spanish football, and they're not quite at their best. I think Spanish football's peaked, from winning the World Cup and the Euros in successive competitions. They were absolutely kings of the castle then, weren't they? And Barcelona and Real Madrid, Barcelona in particular, had most of the players. Now, I don't think they're quite at that level, and I think it's reflected in the clubs. The Barcelona and Real Madrid don't quite have the superstars that they had in those days. So you've seen Atletico and Seville catch them up. Atletico, as much as Des doesn't like them, they are actually the working man's team in Madrid,
Yeah.
A lot of people say that there are more people in Madrid actually support Atletico than Real Madrid. It's one of those. Real Madrid has got the global support and the glamour and all that, but a lot of people in Madrid support Atletico, and it's just a pity that under Simeone they've played this kind of football, which turns off like the likes of us.
Well, it's unfortunate. They're choosing success through this way. But you know, I mean, I know what Bob's saying. It is successful football that Simeone has brought to Atletico. So this weekend, then Barcelona with a tricky away tie, maybe at Valencia. You've got Real at home to Osasuna. They will have one eye on Chelsea. Atletico away at Elche. Now, all this would have happened before Sevilla take on Bilbao on Tuesday morning. So that is your La Liga weekend. On to Malaysian football we go then. Game week 10 looked like this, and there was a shock. JDT went down at home to Terengganu last weekend, which has opened things up a bit. Des Corkill, it's good for Malaysian football. I mean, that JDT doesn't run away with it.
It is good for Malaysian football. Terengganu beating Johor by a goal to nil. The main debate afterwards was more, though, about Terengganu's delaying tactics during the game, all within the spirit of the game, but it's something I've been complaining about in Malaysian football for quite a while. All within the legal rules, but players going down injured, taking their time, just delaying the game. The win was a terrific win. The goal was well earned. You don't go to Johor and win. Tunku Mahkota of Johor went into the dressing room afterwards and personally shook the hands of all the Terengganu players. So it was acknowledged as a fine achievement. And as you say, it keeps the game alive. But it is interesting. The ball was in play. It has been calculated for 50 minutes of the 94 that were played. And that is a real problem. So normally you're hitting the 57, 58 minutes in a game, sometimes higher, around about that, but 50 minutes the ball was in play. So it's taken a little bit of the gloss of it, but it has breathed a little bit of life back into the championship because Terengganu are now second within striking distance of Johor. Kedah themselves are in third place. They're only a point down. Johor in KL to take on our pal Stanley Bernard's KL City tonight. Just in about an hour's time because of the late kickoffs during to Ramadan. But the other team I really want to pay credit to, PJ City. PJ City, 14 points from 10 games. They've only lost twice, a lot of draws, but they don't have foreign players. Many people, myself, said, they're doomed. They and UITM, they're going to be at the bottom. My word, have they made me eat a lot of humble pie. They've been really, really good for PJ. And it's great. That's great for Malaysian football. The Malaysian players can stand up like that in what is a pretty solid league.
Yeah, we're also, apart from PJ City, we're also seeing a resurgent Penang this season, Craig Marias. Kedah have always been a force in Malaysian football, so they've been there and thereabouts. If the status quo carries on, it could be a very interesting season. Yeah,
definitely. I think you talked about PJ City there, Des, and Ross mentioned Penang as surprise packages this season. I think we're ignoring the job that Nafrizi's done at Terengganu, to be honest with you. I mean, he went in there, he got rid of they had a good season last year, got themselves into the ACL competitions, and he got rid of all the foreigners. And you're just thinking, when you think about the likes of Lee Tuck, you're just thinking, hang on a minute. I mean, this guy was so vital to your team. And Dominic De Silva is another one. Just got rid of two very, very good players who have since moved on to other Super League teams in the league. So it sounded crazy at the end of the last season when they made that decision. But when you look at this season and the results that he's still churning out, that win against JDT, no matter how it is, and I know Benjamin Mora came out and was very critical of the Terengganu performance, and he, like they said, 50 minutes of play, it is pretty ridiculous, but they got the win. They got the win, and that's what matters, and that's what anyone's going to look to. And fair play to him. It's not an easy feat. He went away to Johor when you could argue that fans thing and all that. There were fans there, You know, he went away to Johor, got a result which Johor haven't lost in 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, something ridiculous like that. And he's seriously a good coach who's building his reputation. We thought he did a fantastic job last season, and it looks like it's going this way this season. If he runs JDT close, you know, I mean, we're talking about a very, very talented young manager that Malaysia is producing, and credit to him. So yeah, I just want a good title race, Ross. That's all I want in Malaysia. You know, a good title race, and nothing, you know, like what we've seen over the last few years.
Here are your game week 11 fixtures. You've got JDT away at Boyan Hodex KL United this weekend. Terengganu host Penang, kind of a seaside derby, that one. Sabah, who've been doing very well, take on Perak. PJ City against Selangor. That's your game week 11 fixtures. And that is our very short look at Malaysian football. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've enjoyed all the stuff that the guys have been talking about. I've got to say big thanks to Craig, to Bob, and to Des. Hope you've all enjoyed watching. See you next week. Bye now.